Hello everybody, I'm Suzanne Collins and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to recycle some old scrapbooking ideas because scrapbooking, like fashion, ideas come around again and again and again. So most of you may have noticed this little mosaic tile pattern appearing on some websites lately for ideas. So what I want to try this go round is this little gem that I found. That is the design a dimensional scrapbook page. So this is a crop and snip idea. You have to blow things up. So I'm going to show you how to make this design page using today's current techniques. I've had this book for ages, 1999. So let's head into the craft room and we'll have some fun today. So the first question you're probably asking is, what's that book she's talking about? This is an old one I've got years ago called Scrapbooking Your Favorite Family Memories, and it has over 500 ideas for different page layouts, all the way from how to use tools, basics, mosaics, lots of fun stuff. So every so often it's nice to go back and see how things were done in days of old, or to find something that I just haven't tried before. So let's go on to the page that I'm talking about. So for this page layout, they use 3 different colors of paper, and they've actually included a big hexagonal photo in the middle as per the diagram. So for my page, what I have decided to do is to create my 3 shades, and because I wanted mine to fill the page as much as possible, I'm decided to cut my sheets in 2 1/4 inch strips. For the center, I'm going to finish. If you want, you can use, if you still have one of these hexagon template. And in this one, you'll cut the template on the outside with the red blade, and then you'll be cutting in 1/4 inch on either side to give you a straight cut edge rather than the round, and it will fit that frame really nicely. And then if you wanted a pattern on the inside again for a mat for a photo, again, you'd go in 3/4 inch. I will send a template for that if you do not have this, and it will be available in a PDF. As well, for the shapes to finish the blocks here for the extra inside patterns, to add your photos, I will include a PDF of these as well. Although they're simple enough to make, the overall pattern was 2 1/4, so this would be the same principle cut at 2 inches. So to do this, you're going to need 3 strips of paper, and for me, I chose 3 shades of yellow for this go around. And with these 3 strips of paper, you're going to need to cut them with your trimmer on the 30-degree angle line. If you have one of the old Creative Memories trimmers, it does have the line already set up for you. If you do not, I will show you how to prep that one with your new trimmer. To mark my new Creative Memories 12-inch trimmer, I grabbed a square, make sure it's square to start, 6 by 3 inch scrap of paper. And when I line mine up on my mat to do my grid lines, I don't go with the fat line because sometimes your placement's a bit off and you won't get as true a reading. So I will go with a narrower line, 1 block off the center grid, and lay my sheet down, and you'll see that your 30-degree line comes out here and here. Some of you may not have done so already, but I did extend my 30-degree line out a bit further on my mat so it's easier to read. Once you have these 2 marking spots, you're going to run it on your trimmer mark them on your cut line. Double check it with your site guide that I am going through the line on this side, and I am going through the line on this side that I now have drawn on my mat. Once I know that's in place, I'm going to cut my 30 degrees. And you can check it one more time by adding it on the page to see how nice and flush that looks. So right there we have a line that's 30 degrees to the vertical. And now I'm going to take my 30 degrees to the vertical and I'm going to add it to my page. So this one I'm going to go right about even with this groove here, or right at the edge of the white plastic, because I know that's one of the best areas to go, and make sure it's even with the vertical line. So let's go right there. Flush there, nice and square on that one, square on this one. And I mark mine with a permanent Sharpie mark, so I have one to go at the end. If you don't want to do the Sharpie mark, you can take the other part that you did cut out and tape it down and make a cut guide to go along. But I figured if I can just follow a line on the old trimmer, I should be able to do the same on this one. So there is my 30-degree angle line. Once I have my 30-degree line, I'm ready to start my cutting. Let's go on to cutting. We've cut our 3 colors strips, 12 inches by 2 1/4, and now we're going to get set to make these lovely patterns. So your instructions are, we're doing 3 strips at 2 1/4 inches. One's going to be light, one's going to be medium, and one's going to be dark, to create these even patterns here. We're going to cut 2 pieces at 2 1/4 inches, and for the smaller one we're going to cut 4 pieces at 2 1/8 inches. That's for each strip, so we're going to repeat the same pattern with all the strips. So let's go on and I'll show you just how fast and simple the cutting is, and then we'll go on to assembly. I'm going to slide this to the side so you can see a little bit. On that one, we'll bring our trimmer back in. And like I said, I don't usually use the cardboard piece. We have these great zero centering rulers that are nice and thick and deep. So I usually just run this along my edge, even with my pattern to start along that grid that I want. And I just hold that in place. So your first cut is going to be to take off the edge to give you your angle that you want to create that 30-degree angle. And there we have our first angled cut. Next we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of paper and we're going to spin it all the way around. So now it is square. It is automatically going to line up along this line, because we're going to keep this edge flush with these ends here. So our next cut, we're doing 2 at 2 1/4. So I'm going to make my stop at 2 1/4. Slide my sheet in so it's flush there, and you can see how it's holding that angle nicely. So that's cut number 1. And cut number 2. Next 4 cuts are going to be at 1 1/8. 1 1/8 is 2 hash marks above the 1. You'll end up on the same pattern. 2, 3, and 4. Voila! Let's do the same thing with the next 2 strips. Congratulations, all your cutting is now done. If you did a good job, everything should stack nice and neat and feel flush to your fingers. If not, that's okay. When we do the assembly, you can do some adjusting as well. To assemble my squares, I found it easier. I tried different ways. I found when I worked right on the page, a lot of times you get around and the last one's out of position and you have to rejuggle everything at the same time. So my next attempt, I found it easiest to work on my mat, which will give you my grid lines to help things line up. And I just assembled the squares separately using the splits. So I have all the little pieces done, and then I can transfer it to my main page afterwards. So let's go ahead and walk through that one. Depending on how you want the light illusion to look, you can have the light coming from the top, from the side, or from the bottom, or from the right hand side, and build your blocks accordingly. I'm kind of liking the top, so my vertical piece will be here. So let's separate out our pieces, and 3 colors will go on each grid. So let's do a quick divvy of product first. 2 dark, 2 lights, 2 mediums, and you get a medium, 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 medium. You get a light, 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 and light, and you get a dark on those ones. So each piece has 3 squares. So we're going to start with this lower pattern here, and on this one our light is at the top and our 2 grids are on the side, and this one I want flush with my vertical. So let's slide you guys out of the way. We'll do both these boxes first. So let's start with the lights on top. The light pattern is on top, and it will be following my 30-degree line. My darker piece was on the side, and this one's going to come down with the vertical. See how easy that is? And my medium color is falling in this space. There we are. So that would sit together like so. So easily enough to put those together. And then I just add my photo splits underneath. And this one would go up in here with this one on the vertical. And there we have our pattern. And once I'm done putting all my adhesives on, I'll flip it over, add some extra adhesive so my pieces hang together before I go and add it to my page. I can pop off all my peel strips and then just get ready to place it. So to finish this layout and add your photos, you may want to add your die. Because these blocks are not taped down, you can set them on something and trace your inside hex. To make it easy for you, I am going to photocopy this little grid sheet I did make out with all your inside measurements. So your photo would sit here. You can do the mat this size, and then when you get a photo, trace it but cut it a little bit smaller again, and that would mat in here. This piece here would be a great block for a photograph. So if I wanted to use this one on this angle, I would watch for what I could put in. If it's going to be at this angle here, you would mark your spot and then angle accordingly so I can trace out along my photo. Or you can cut a hole and use a window reverse space. Same thing if you wanted to add smaller photos, unlike the example but mine, you can also use this little grid one as well. That would fit like so, or at the other angle, not working this way, flip it over and it will work on that side. So I'll scan these pieces for you if you just want to trace and cut and use them as mats to block things out, or you can prep your own. This would be the same cutting system to use these ones, but I'm starting with a 2" by a 2" grid on the 60-degree angle. This one I still left at the almost 2 1/4. I went down to 2 1/8 by 1 to give me this angle again at the 60-degree. So that's it for doing your blocking. Your final page, once you have your photos, you can add your pieces. I actually went ahead and added some little photos on top as well. I didn't want a centerpiece. That's where I put my title. Your page is done. If you found today's video inspiring, share it with a friend. Subscribe to my channel and give me a like. Also feel free to join my virtual crop group and post your accomplishments there. I'll include the link below. We'll see you on Chat Thursday if you want to join us. Otherwise, we'll see you next week with the next post.